Hi, I'm Dr. Katie Woodley, the natural pet doctor. In this short video clip, we're going to go deep into what pet wellness truly means for your dogs and your cats. If you want the full video course, make sure you check out the link below for our pet wellness course, which is going to go through nutrition, vaccines, and all the different life stages of your dogs and cats and how to optimize their wellness. Please leave a comment in the comments below and make sure you subscribe so that you get access and updates whenever we upload new videos to our YouTube channel. Thank you. There are so many benefits to a homemade diet. The biggest thing I'm going to talk about is balance. But with homemade foods, we know what we're pets eating. We can control the quality of the ingredients. We can use organic. We can offer fresh, wholesome ingredients. It's minimally processed. We can do this for pets that have food intolerances or sensitivities. We can do limited food trials with them to help them. And we can rotate ingredients for variety. We used to batch cook food for Finn, store it in the freezer, store 3 days in the fridge, and it makes it easier. A lot of people are like, I'm not cooking for my pet every day of the week. I already don't cook for myself. Batch cook. And I guarantee you it will make your life a lot easier. Get an Instapot, made our lives so much easier with our busy schedules. We have to supplement with added calcium and other vitamins and minerals. A lot of times what we'll do is when we balance these meals, we're actually using organ meats, we can use bones, but if we're not doing that, we need to ensure that we're adding synthetic supplements, vitamins, and minerals to that. So these resources right here I listed are just a few of them. Balanceit.com will allow you to create a balanced home cooked recipe for your dogs and your cats. If you use Balanceit.com, make sure you're using it Balanceit supplement because they don't use organ meats, they don't use bones. So, but it's formulated by a veterinary nutritionist. So this is a safe way for you to know that you are giving your pet optimal food that is balanced. For dogs, there's also Meal Mix for dogs.com. This is through Dr. Mercola or Karen Becker, which I know a lot of you also follow. She uses her supplement brand, of course, to help balance out those foods, but it's another resource to be able to get a home cooked diet. And then our cats. So catinfo.org. This is an amazing resource by an amazing veterinarian. And if you have a cat, you need to go to this website because it's not only just about food, it's just how do you optimize your cat's health? And there's home cooked recipes, there's raw food recipes, there's an entire list of all the brands she recommends, which I went through in depth, and I've included some of those for you later on in this presentation. So biggest mistake I see being made with home cooked diet is that we feel like we can just put meat down and vegetables. We're good to go. The dog is happy. Like a cat, you probably wouldn't get away with that, or for a cat, you just put meat down and they're good. Number one mistake, the calcium is too low in that diet. So meat is really high in phosphorus, and we want our calcium phosphorus ratios to be about 1:1. When we feed only meat and vegetables, we don't get the calcium. The phosphorus ratio is really high, and we create all sorts of health issues, especially if we're using these diets in a growing animal, so a dog or a puppy or a kitten. So that is the number one thing. We need to ensure we're adding calcium. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you what you need for that. But this is the number one thing I see messed up with a home cooked diet. So don't just put food down and just think it's balanced because it's probably not. The other thing is we can use a mixture of organ meat, so kidneys, liver, heart for natural vitamins. And when we feed that alongside raw meaty bones, we're going to balance that diet in certain ratios. We can overdo that too. We can overdo or underdo anything. So there's certain ratios that we tend to follow. And then let's talk about some of the supplements. If we're looking at doing a home cooked diet, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just putting down the food and expecting them to thrive. So unless you feed raw meaty bones, all homemade diets must be supplemented with calcium. If you're looking at your raw meaty bones, typically about 10 to 15% of that diet needs to be that raw meaty bone. If your pet is not eating it, then you need to follow this because their calcium requirements are much higher than ours. And the amount found in multivitamins and mineral supplements usually isn't enough, but there's easy ways to add calcium in. So typically, you're going to give 800 to 1,000 milligrams of calcium per pound of food. This is not per body weight. This is per pound of food. And if you're feeding vegetables, so I talk about leafy greens and carrots and all sorts of things, you're going to exclude the non-starchy vegetables from that quantity. So this is going to be your meat, your like sweet potatoes, or if you're using potatoes, or if you are using rice. So it's going to be that quantity of food with that amount of calcium. You can use any form of plain calcium, including like eggshells ground to a powder. So a half a teaspoon of eggshell actually provides about 1,000 milligrams of calcium. There's also seaweed calcium from Animal Essentials is a great brand. You can use that too. You'll want to follow, they have similar requirements on the back with how much to add to the food. But if you're using eggshells, you need to grind it up really fine or else they're going to just poop it out and they're not going to absorb it. So that's something to be aware of. Also, when we look at oils, there's different types of oils. So a lot of people will get fish oil and think that the pet food is balanced, and it's not. So fish oil is going to provide dogs and cats with their EPA and DHA, so the omega-3 fatty acids that help regulate the immune system and down-regulate inflammation in the body. So typically an amount that we're going to provide, roughly, it's going to vary between pets if they have conditions, depending on certain things that I treat, but 300 milligrams EPA plus DHA combined, so per 20 to roughly 30 pounds of body weight on days you don't feed fish. So if you're feeding fish one day, they're getting salmon with the bones and all the things, you can decrease that. But there is a wide range of omega-3s that we can give to pets. Nordic Naturals is a great brand that I highly recommend. And then if you don't feed much poultry fat, so chicken fat, so this is found in dark meat and skin, this is where the linoleic acid or an essential omega-6 fatty acid is. And if you're not feeding enough of that, your pet will probably be really low in it. So we use oils like walnut oil, hemp seed oil. This is where you'll see like corn oil added in. Vegetable soybean oil or high linoleic safflower oil are going to provide that linoleic acid that's needed for your pet. So typically about 1 teaspoon per pound of meat and other animal products. So if you're using your organ meats, you're going to include that in the amount. And so your olive oil and your high oleic safflower oil, those are actually low in omega-6s. So those can't be used as a substitute, but small amounts can add in additional fats if needed. And coconut oil provides saturated fats. It does not provide omega-3s. It does not provide omega-6s. So we can use it in addition, but not as a replacement for any of those oils. When we're adding in omega-3 fatty acids and those oils, we also need to be using a vitamin E. So you can see the dosage there, 1 to 2 international units per pound of body weight daily. You need to use the D-tocopherol natural form, not the DL tocopherol synthetic form of vitamin E. The D form is better absorbed and utilized than the DL form. So a way that you can remember this was maybe does little to help them. So to remember to stay away from the DL form, we want the D tocopherol form. And then we need to provide iodine. And if your pet has thyroid issues, this is where we need to be careful with supplementing iodine so we're not creating more of a problem. But kelp is commonly used as a natural mineral, so that provides iodine, but amounts can vary among supplements. There is a kelp product with the Animal Essential that you can use. And we can also use multivitamins and mineral supplements to meet most requirements. So a lot of people actually use the human multivitamins. So an example would be Centrum for adults. So a 1 a day type human supplement. So under 50, like you don't want senior form, you just want like your adult. And you're going to typically give 1 of those human multivitamins per 40 to 50 pounds of body weight daily. Your pet is less, you're going to use less. Your pet weighs more, you're going to base it on that ratio. And then we can add in things like green blends. So a lot of those contain alfalfa and other various herbs And these can be really helpful if you can't get green vegetables into your dog's diet because they're super picky. So Honest Kitchen has a lot of really amazing blends. There's a lot of companies that do green blends also that you can add in. I also put Animal Essentials Herbal Green Alternative. So there's a lot of companies that allow you to make their meal easier.